So hi, welcome back. Thank you for returning. If you've been here before, if you're not and you do, then welcome. So my name's Marie, and yeah, this is Fountain Pens and TNs, and we do have a TN as well today. So yeah, we are full in the theme. So I thought today we'd have a coffee date. I thought it'd be really nice to kind of get all of the my coffee themed bits and pieces. Not necessarily coffee themed on purpose. It just seems to be that I love my browns and neutrally kind of and coffee and cream kind of pens. So yeah, I've got that, and I've got my inks as well. So all the different inks that I've got, I think I've got 13 different inks here that all to me kind of have that kind of coffee, kind of browns. It's basically browns and creams. So, coffee. And I mean, there's one here as well. We've got leader tea, so tea as well, so milky tea if you prefer tea. So yeah, so let's get on. So yeah, life begins after coffee. The irony is I only actually drink decaf. So yeah, I love coffee, but I can't tolerate decaf. So I can't tolerate the caffeine, so I have to have decaf. So a lot of people will probably find that quite amusing. So I've pulled out all my pens. So it was basically, this video was inspired by the new espresso from TWSBI. I'm trying to get them the right way around, and for some reason I can't. Oh, it's going to be one of those days, so bear with me. It's going to be one of those. So yeah, so I've got what's classed as the breakfast set. So I have the cream rose gold and the cafe rose gold and the is it just, it is cafe rose gold, yeah, and then the espresso bronze. So I thought, we'll kind of do a video on those pens, but what if I bring in all my other kind of coffee type pens as well? So yeah, that's what brings us here. So I've got my pens and I've got my inks. We'll do some swatches and I'll show you each of the pens. But first of all, cheers. Have a drink of coffee, and we'll put that over there out the way. So I'm going to be using my Kakamori dip pen again to do the swatches. So what should we do first? Should we look at the pens first? So yeah, let's look at the pens. So I'll show you them all first, and then when I do the swatches, I can do some writing samples as well. So as you may see, I've got three here that are the same. Now these are the Jinhao 82s. So these are supposedly a dupe for the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. I do have a genuine Sailor Pro Gear Slim as well with the gold nib. I do like it. It's a nice pen. It's in a blue, and it's got a blue ink that came with it, which I feel I have to use. So I don't use it that much just because I don't use blue inks that often. I use black and brown inks mostly, and some purples, greens, browns and black really are my kind of staples. But yeah, but I absolutely love these pens. So the first ever pen that I got that I fell in love with was one of these, and it was actually one of these coffee sparkle ones, and I bought it from the lovely shop Cute Stickers Only, my lovely friend Dessie. I do have a code for that, so if you want to have a look, she has still got these pens in different colours in stock. It's a bit quicker to ship than say buying them from AliExpress or wherever. So yeah, and it's Marie 10. But I will put those that code down below for you, so no problem. So yeah, so I've actually got two of these. One at the minute has got a black ink in, just because I use that as a just a basic black because I like this, and the other one has got a brown in. Now I'm not 100% sure what ink is in there without looking it up, and I didn't get a chance to look it up before we started. But yeah, so I do love these. So I've got these two. So one's got a medium nib. I think the black one, I put a little black dot on the bottom with a Sharpie just so I know which is which. But it is actually quite easy to tell because one of them has got a medium nib and one's got a fine nib. I did actually buy some spare nibs from AliExpress, so I do like these with the medium nib more than the fine. So I did buy some extra medium nibs, and I've swapped a lot of them out to the fine. So what I can do is, this one is actually kind of like, this is called, this is like a milk tea one. So this is kind of like a light milky tea. Again, it's another Jinhao 10. Let me move these out the way so we can focus on the one we're looking at, because otherwise the camera's just going to want to focus on this. There we go. So that's that one. This one isn't actually inked up. I haven't found the perfect ink for this yet. If you've got any suggestions, I would love to hear, because any opportunity to try a new ink, I kind of love. Kind of wanted obviously something that was like, yeah, like a milky tea, because that's what this reminds me of, but I don't know. Can't think of anything specific. But yeah, this one isn't inked up. I don't even have a converter or anything in this. This one's completely empty. These are lovely. The only thing is we've got a metal feed here and then plastic. So there can be some issues when you've got metal on plastic kind of long term, because obviously the metal can affect and wear away the plastic quicker. But as long as you're not kind of being too heavy and opening and closing loads, you know, they should last pretty well. But with this one, what I can do is I can show you how easy it is to remove the nib unit, because then I'm not going to get super inky. So literally this whole nib unit comes out and you can change the whole thing. So you literally just grab that, not too hard, and turn the pen or turn the nib, and it just very simply just comes out of the pen, and the nib units sit like this. And then you can buy the separate nib units. You can buy the different colour. I love these dual coloured ones. They are all steel nibs, which is totally fine. I honestly don't mind, and for such a budget pen, all of these are pretty much under £10, depending where you buy them from and how quickly you want them. And yeah, so it just sits in there, so you can very, very easily swap the nibs around, and then obviously just screw it back in, make sure it's in there quite tight. And there's a little band there, just push that down, because obviously you're going to get a bit of leakage there if you don't push it too far, which I'm terrible for doing that. And then I'm writing, because I'm really bad at holding my pens quite low down, which is a bit naughty. I should be more up here on the grip, but I do tend to hold them quite low down, and then I do get inky fingers, as a proof there. But you know, that's just me. And to be honest, I think it's the joy of using fountain pens. If you haven't then got ink all over your fingers, what's the point? So yeah, so that's the Jinhao 82, and as I said, that's a bit of a dupe of the Pro Gear Slim, but to me they're lovely pens in their own right. They're cheap, they're a great starter pen, and they come in a ridiculous amount of colours. I've got a whole tray full of different ones, and I just love them all. So they're really lovely, and I probably will be using that one to do some writing in a minute. So if we're going to talk coffee, we can't not talk about the Sheaffer Coffee Edition pen, can we? So this is I think it's VFM model. So this is the bullet shape one. There's two versions. There's this shape, and then there's a more of a squared. I went for this one because at the time I hadn't really got any pens that were this shape. This one is slightly cheaper as well, and I wanted it engraved. So I don't know if you can see, it does have my name on there, which I think is just very cool. And then on here we've got various, obviously we've got the coppery coloured hardware, and on here somewhere, and I always forget on this one, there we go, there it is, there is the coffee cup on the pen, which I just think is so cute. So let me bring that up in case you can't see it. There we go. And yeah, of course, it's this lovely gradient kind of brown coffee kind of colour with the matching hardware, and it's a beautiful pen. It writes lovely. The nib is the same. It's kind of like that kind of brass coppery kind of look to it, which I just think is lovely. This is a medium, I believe. It's one of the first medium pens that I ever bought. Previous to this one, it was I'd only had fine and extra fine, so it's just a really lovely, and it's a lovely writer, just a classic Sheaffer. Really nice one to have in your collection. Relatively budget as well. I think this one's about 35 and the other one comes out to about between 50 and 60. But yeah, just lovely pen, and right straight off the bag. I hadn't used this for a while. Come to test it today to write with, and it just wrote straight away. So beautiful. It's got a converter in it. I'm pretty sure I put don't know what ink is in it right now. I think I might have put Lait de Tay in this one, or it could be Yamaguri, but it doesn't matter what's in these pens at the minute. We're looking at the pen and then we're doing the ink separately anyway, so that's totally fine. So that's my Sheaffer Coffee edition, specifically coffee. And then again, so this one is another kind of coffee themed. So this is a Hongdian. I can't quite remember the model of this, but if you just search Hongdian on Amazon, these come up, and they're all different kind of colours of the barrel. And again, this is the milk tea. So we're kind of saying coffee, but we've got some milk tea obviously mixed in as well. Let's call it the hot beverage style. You might like cocoa and you might prefer that. And in fact, I've just realised one of my inks I haven't actually got here is that, but I've got it in a pen. So yeah, so this is the Hongdian. These are lovely. Like I say, they come in all different kinds of pastel colours. So you can get this. You can also get the Black Forest version, which is completely black and has the black nib, which is just beautiful. And I do have that as well. They're around the £17 mark, between 15 and 17 from Amazon. They're just lovely. They're a metal pen. I do like a metal pen. And it's obviously metal on both ends as well for the screw, so that's really good. Just lovely. Can't say anything a bit more than that, but just lovely pen. Again, really brilliant for the money. Writes beautifully. Never had any issues. And this one definitely has Lait de Tay in it because it's obviously more of a milk tea. So yeah, that's that one. Then I threw this one in. I guess this one's a bit of an oddball, but it was just more for the colour palette more than anything else. I wouldn't really call this a coffee pen as such, but obviously it's kind of like all those different browns. So this is the Esterbrook Estie in honeycomb. I really love this pen. This is one that I particularly sought out. I bought it in D-Stash and I got it for a really bargain price. So the Estes tend to run between about 170 to 200 and something, depending on what version you have. It is the converter fill, not the piston fill. I think I paid 130 in D-Stash for this, but I adore this pen. So I have then bought a separate nib for it. I think I've mentioned this before. So I really love a flex nib. And again, you can change the nib units on this. So exactly like you can change them on the Jinhao 82, it just unscrews. The whole nib unit comes out. I'm not going to because it's inked up and I'll just get ink everywhere. But this is the Elastico extra fine flex, which just I think is brilliant to have a fine nib but with a flex as well. A lot of flex nibs tend to be more broad, so I really enjoy that. You can get it in the silver tone and the gold tone, and I have two of them. So I have the gold toned flex nib in my winter white. It just fits with it nicer. I would quite like the gold one because it'd match the hardware more for this one, so I might have to purchase that at some point. But yeah, just adore it. And the ink I've got in here is KWZ smells sorry, KWZ honey for my honeycomb pen. And again, it's just a perfect match. It's probably the only ink I'll ever have in here, to be honest. And yeah, so a bit of an oddball, but you can have your honey in your tea, and it does match the colour palette. So she had to be popped in there. So next up we have this one. So if you've seen my previous video, which has done really well, thank you all for your watches and your comments on that. This is my Jinhao 10. So this obviously is the dupe of the Pilot Capless. I adore these pens. Every single one of them that I've had has been perfect. Had a little bit of an issue with my matte black one. That was doing a bit of a hard start, but my husband's used his shims and just widened the tines slightly on the nib. They were really, really tight. There was barely anything between them. The ink just wasn't flowing through. So he's done that for me, and now it writes every time without any problems at all. It's much juicier. He hasn't overdone it. He's only opened them slightly. And I've got to say, right, it's a bit more like a medium nib now as well. So I'm really pleased with that. And I might do the same with this one, just so it writes a bit more, maybe medium. But anyway, this I've had no problems with. So there's no issues with the flow. So this is what is classed as the caramel. And it is a dupe of the whiskey capless. It is a fine nib on this one, but like I say, if you just use very thin shims, you can just get in between the tines, just loosen them up ever so slightly, very gently, and yeah, you can kind of widen that and just help with the flow a little bit. If you find you've got a pen that's just writing a little bit dry, that can help sometimes, but do make sure you've got some proper shims. We've got a proper set that we bought on Amazon, and always start with the smallest, and you know, don't necessarily do it on a pen that's hundreds or thousands of pounds. You know, these are you know, £15 from AliExpress, and less. In fact, you can get them for less, 11, or I think they're about 18.50 on Amazon if you don't want to wait for shipping. So, you know, not cheap in the grand scale of things, but you know, for a really good pen, it's fully metal again. And as I've said, I do love a metal or an acrylic pen are my favourite, but yeah, love a metal pen. So that's that one. So we'll do the Benu next, and then we'll do the TWSBIs all together. So this again is one that I was looking for. I was lucky enough to get this in D-Stash and got it for a bargain price. So this is my Benu Briolet Amber, Luminous Amber. So these bits actually do glow in the dark. I have tested it, and they do pretty much glow. It's a lovely pen. This is a broad. So it is quite a thick writer, this one. It's a broad, it's not crazy broad, as in it's not like really thick, but it's definitely broader than the other pens that I've got, but lovely wet writer again, and it's just so pretty. Again, not necessarily just strictly kind of coffee, but I think with the luminous bit, it does give that bit of like caramel cappuccino-y kind of look, I would say, for this one. So yeah, lovely pen. And in this one at the minute, I've got Cocoa Shimmer by Diamine, which is the ink I've realised I haven't grabbed, so I'm gonna have to grab that in a minute because the shimmer on it is amazing. Beautiful, and obviously it being abroad, it takes that shimmer really nicely, and you've kind of got to have the shimmer, haven't you, when you've got a pen that's so shimmery on the outside. So yeah, that's the Benu. And then we've got the three. So we'll put them all here. So these are the breakfast collection from TWSBI. So the first one is the cream rose gold, I believe. It is rose gold, yeah, with the rose gold trim and the cream. This is a fine nib. So again, just beautiful nib. The ink I've got in here is something I'd got a sample of. I haven't actually got it to swatch, but I can do a writing sample. So this is Ferris Wheel Press Bookkeeper's Brass, and it is just beautiful. You can see the shimmer there. I often have to give this a bit of a shake up just to mix that shimmer in before I write with it. But just beautiful. I'd love a full bottle of it, but I'm struggling to get it from a UK supplier. And I don't really want to pay £15 shipping for a £15 bottle of ink. So yeah. So if anybody knows anywhere that has Bookkeeper's Brass in stock, let me know. So that's the cream. And then we've got the cafe bronze, I think it is. Cafe bronze. I was trying to think of rose gold earlier. So yeah, so this is the yeah, that's the cafe bronze. So this is more of kind of like a lighter, milkier kind of coffee. Again, this has got a fine nib, I believe. I have had a little bit of leakage from this. I think it's just because I've been throwing it around a bit, and I think it's just kind of leaking a little bit around the edge. again, so maybe it just needs the nib tightening. Again, you can remove the nibs on here. I don't know if you can swap them. I know the VAX 700 you can get other nibs for and swap them in and out, but I don't think you can with the Ecos. But yeah, beautiful pen. This has got oh, what did I put in this one? I think I put Cocoa Shimmer in this one, actually. I've changed it recently. I did have Robert Oster Cafe Crema in here because obviously Cafe Crema in the Cafe Bronze pen kind of does go. But I think I wanted a bit of shimmer, so I'm pretty sure looking at that, there's definitely shimmer. Pretty sure I put Cocoa Shimmer into there, which is one of my new favourite inks. Bit of a pain, I know, to then clean it out when you've got a shimmer in there, but I don't intend to put any other ink in, but probably that one. And then the latest one, so I've only had this a couple of weeks, so this is the newer one from TWSBI. It's the TWSBI Eco again, obviously, and it's the Espresso Bronze. And this is just beautiful, very popular pen. A lot of people have bought this. And again, part of the collection. I think this one's a medium. It might be a fine as well, actually. I can never quite tell with the TWSBIs, and I can never remember. Again, I've got a little bit of leakage here, which is unusual. I'm not quite sure why. That's tight. I did have an issue. I did go through a phase where I hadn't tightened up my piston correctly, so I was getting a little bit, but yeah. Again, it could just be how I've got it sat. Perhaps I need to have it in a different case and more that way up so that it's not being a bit drippy. Yeah, it's definitely a bit just around the feed there. But anyway, I've got I don't mind, to be honest, because it smells amazing. So I've got a KWZ Smells Like Coffee in here, and yeah, it does smell amazing. It doesn't particularly last on the paper when you write with it, but as you're writing with the pen and when you open it, as soon as I open it, the lid just smells just perfect. So yeah, perfect ink, I think, particularly for this one. Yeah, because it's just beautiful. So yeah, so that's my pens. So let me know what you think might be missing from the collection. Are there any pens you think that might be needed to match kind of the coffee situation? And I mean, yeah, maybe I can look into those. So yeah, I'm hoping I'll bring some more of these out. That's definitely Cocoa Shimmer. Look at the shimmer there. So yeah. Okay, so we'll move these out of the way and we will move on to the ink. So just got the pens up there. So I've got a mix of different inks here that I use that, like I said, are all browns. I'm going to swatch them today in my standard 10. So this is there. The book I'm using is an Archer and Olive, so it's 160 GSM white paper. And I just thought this would be nice to look just something different, because I tend to use Tomoe River paper, and just it's nice occasionally to see the difference, isn't it, and see a bit of different paper. I have got a video coming up. My last book has arrived today, so I will be doing kind of like um a a test of different papers. So I've got a number of different bits and pieces, different kinds of paper. I've got some Cosmo paper, some onion skin, Tomoe River paper, some Hobonichi Tomoe River paper, and some other. And then I've got some specific Japanese washi papers as well, which are really exciting. That was kind of like in a sample pack. So yeah, so I've got that coming up. That should be coming up quite soon because that's arrived now. And then that'll be really good, I think, to show you, what's bleeding, what isn't bleeding, and how nicely the ink sit. And obviously we'll compare it to kind of this as well. So yeah, so I've just gone ahead and just stamped some ink bottles from a stamp I've got, and yeah, we'll do some we'll do some swatches. So the first one I'm going to come in with is a classic coffee. ink that most people will probably go for if they're looking at coffee. So this is Robert Oster's Cafe Crema. It's a beautiful brown, whether you kind of want it for a coffee vibe or you just love your brown inks. It's just beautiful. So give this a good dip and a swirl, and then we'll just swatch it there in the, got a really nice dip there in the bottle. Do it like that so we can see the shading. And then we'll just do, so you can see how it goes, and it is Robert Oster. Let me make sure I don't spell it wrong. Cafe Crema. And it's a really lovely shading ink. You'll actually see as it dries kind of like the shading coming through, but also just in the writing you can see the darker brown there, but it has gone to that lighter one there, just as it's, you know, the ink has got less on the nib. So yeah, just beautiful. Just really love this. Am I done? Am I dry? There we go. So beautiful. Really lovely, and you know, a favourite with a lot of people. So yeah, that's the first one. It's one I do tend to reach for quite a lot. I did have it in my Cafe Bronze TWSBI, but yeah, I swapped out of the Cocoa Shimmer because I felt like I wanted some shimmer. I'm pretty sure that one is in my my Sheaffer coffee pen, which would make sense. So we'll do all the bigger bottles first, and then I'll do the small ones because I've got quite a few that I had in the Diamine Advents from the last couple of years. So the next one we'll go for is it's a Jacobon's Lait de Thé. So not technically coffee, but definitely hot beverage themed. So this is one I really like. Again, when I was looking at brown inks, it's one that came up a lot and a lot of people recommended. So not dissimilar actually to Cafe Crema. Definitely a more watery ink, if for want of a better kind of description. Quite buildable, got some shade there as well. So quite nice. Definitely more of a tea kind of vibe to it. Definitely reminds me more of kind of like a tea bag. Check nib on. Not sticking on the nib quite as well, this one. And this one's probably going to be really thick now. Does anybody else find your Kakamori nib is very temperamental? Yeah, so it's Lait de Thé. There we go. This reminds me of walnut actually, which we'll see in a little bit. It's definitely not as happy on the nib as Cafe Crema, but then we all know all different inks have slightly different properties. But yeah, beautiful. You can see it's much kind of darker, more, I would say, walnutty to me, kind of brown. So, and we'll go in for the classic. So this is KWZ Smells Like Coffee, and oh my days, I just adore this ink so much. So obviously you've got that whole kind of sensory kind of additional element to using this ink. It's a really lovely colour. and it does properly smell like coffee. I really love the wide neck on these bowls as well, especially with me and my gammy eyes. It just really helps me to be able to see that better. So okay, she says, and then I haven't got enough. There we go. I got the angle. I could smell. I wish you could smell it. Honestly, if you've ever used it, you'll kind of know. Going for more of a dip. I honestly think it's me that's not quite getting the dip right on my nib rather than the ink or the nib. There we go. That's better. I'm trying to clear it off a bit too much. Yeah, it just smells beautiful. So again, another dark brown. I mean, it's no point me keep saying the brown because they're all brown inks, aren't they? So let's state the obvious, Marie. Smells like coffee, and yeah, as I said, it really, really does. Just beautiful. And definitely think it has that match to the espresso. And you can imagine that in that pen, it is just the perfect match. So yeah, and now I'm just going to be able to smell that the whole time I'm doing these swatches now. It's so lovely. The next one I'm going to do is the KWZ honey, and that has a fragrance as well. It's more of a vanilla, and I think a lot of the KWZ, well, however you want to pronounce it, a lot of those, a lot of their inks do have a bit of a fragrance. You know, I haven't noticed it in that I've got is the Sheen machine doesn't seem to have quite as strong, but a lot of them have got this vanilla-y kind of smell, which is just beautiful. So this is honey. So again, not strictly coffee. Look at that, I've dripped water everywhere. Good job it's the paper it is. Oh, there we go. Bit good, a good dip, and here we go. So yeah, not strictly coffee as such because it's honey. And I don't actually think it's particularly of a honey colour because it's much darker than what I would consider honey. But it is just a beautiful brown, and yeah, it goes perfectly with the way it shades. Just perfectly matches my my Estie honeycomb pen. So just do, there we go, and it's KWZ honey. Gorgeous. Yeah, I do really like that one. It's got a different tone again, quite similar to the Cafe Creme. I'm seeing them on this paper. It's interesting because I usually swatch on Tomoe River paper, so it is interesting seeing these shades coming up on you know, on this paper, because it obviously, the paper does affect the swatch and affect how the ink performs. So that's the two. So we'll go to my Diamine inks in the bigger bottles. These are 50 mils, are they? 30 mils, sorry. Never any good at sizing, especially with liquids. So this is sepia. So this is again another really popular Diamine ink. Diamine. My Midlands accent can't cope with which it should be. I'd probably usually say Diamine. So much lighter, very different texture. This one's sitting on this paper more. You can actually see it moving. So yeah, not soaking in as quickly, which is fine, but interesting to see. Again, the properties of the different inks. So it's this one's Diamine Sepia, very popular black. One of the first black, sorry, very popular brown. One of the first browns that I actually bought. Just the concept of sepia, and I do think this is actually definitely named correctly. It's definitely a sepia tone to that. You can see as they're drying, it's like they're all brown inks, but as you can see, they are all very different tones to them, which I think is always fascinating. So that one is sepia. So the next one is Desert Burst. Now I've got Ancient Copper here to try, and I know that one is a bit renowned for being a bit of a inconsistent ink and a bit of a one that's bad for doing kind of crusting in your pen. So if you are going to use that one, maybe don't leave it in your pen, or keep it for dip, or make sure it's not in a pen that's particularly valuable, or what have you. It's not one I particularly have used that I leave in a pen, but we'll see how it comes. Oh, look at that. Doesn't want to go over that previous splodge. So yeah, so this is Desert Burst. So again, another classic Diamine brown. Do like the tone of this. All I can smell is the coffee. Oh dear, still smell it because it's right there, right under my nose. So nice. Definitely lasting longer on this paper. I do struggle with writing with this nib. It's great for swatching. It's not one that I'd choose to. I don't think if I was going to just do some dip pen writing, I don't think it's one that I'd pick to use just for writing. I've got much nicer dip pen nibs that write beautifully. So there we go. So there's Desert Burst, coming out quite similar to Honey, I think, as it's drying. But yeah, we'll see. No, I don't want them to mix, so just gonna put, I don't have any blotting paper handy, so I'm just gonna put this. It's just a beautiful A5 divider type thing. Dashboard, that's the word I was looking for. An A5 dashboard. So I'm just going to put that in there. It's not one I'm using right now, just to make sure those inks don't. And as you can see, this paper, there's no bleeding through at all. I've got a little there, but that's just from where I'd blobbed, but I wouldn't really call that a bleed. I think it's just where the ink is quite moist. Moist? Should we use that word? I don't think so. Probably not. So we've done Desert Burst. So let's go on to Rustic Brown. So this obviously is definitely a brown, rustic brown, but there's a lot more red in this one. So this one's a lot more red to it. In fact, you're looking in it, looks more burgundy than brown. I thought it needed to come in because obviously it is in the brown family. But let's have a look. I think this one will be quite different. Oh, actually, that's coming out much darker brown on there than I expected. And it's an ink I've had for a while, but not one I've really reached for. And I'm not sure because that's beautiful, but there definitely is some red there. this might, just thinking out loud again, this might look quite nice in my Jinhao 10 agate, because that bit of red, but it being a brown ink, that might work really nice in that pen as something different. At the minute I've got writer's blood in there, which is perfect, beautiful, and it just flows so lovely in that pen. But yeah, it might be really nice. Change almost a burgundy plum kind of look to it. Definitely brown, a dark brown, but as that shading moves, really interesting. Yeah, definitely one I need to try in a pen, I think. Actually try writing with that, that'd be fun. See, now it's drying much more brown, but it looked more red. I can definitely see. Jabba jabba. Oh, this woman, she comes on and she does these swatches and she jabbers on. It's kind of the point, isn't it, really? If I wasn't talking, I don't know, would you prefer it non-talking? Would you prefer it just with the music over the top? I don't know. A lot of people say my voice sends them to sleep. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. I'm honestly not sure. Okay, so this one is Ancient Copper. So this is the one that I mentioned before. It's a bit of a notorious ink for being a bit of a misbehaved fella. So it's not loving the dip at the minute. There we go, that's a little bit better. It's probably just how I'm holding the page, to be fair. It is a really lovely, definitely copper, but it's almost like you get those kind of ink bogies that get round your nib and kind of like crust up. And it's almost like there's real copper in it, and the copper's kind of rusting. And somebody's going to tell me copper doesn't rust now, aren't they? Yes, I know, you get verdigris, don't you? But it's just that kind of, or is that on bronze? It's on copper, isn't it? I'm sure somebody will put me straight. So, Ancient Copper. It is a lovely colour, but I'm just really nervous to put it in any of my pens, just because I've heard these stories about it being a bit of a naughty ink. So let me know if you've had luck with it. That is really lovely. Definitely a copper, isn't it? Definitely what it says on the tin. I'll move that and I'm pretty sure they'll be okay. Yeah. But yeah, any feedback or anything you've got on that, I'd appreciate. So pretty much all of them so far have been pretty standard inks. A lot of them do shade, but they're not there's not really any shimmer. So I've got some now that are more from these are all from the Advent, either the most recent one, which was 2024, or 2023. And as you see, a lot of these are shimmer inks, so hopefully we're going to get some nice sparkle. Give it a good shake. They need a good shake in these little bottles, especially because it really does settle at the bottom. So I really do like this ink. I've used this a couple of times in my sparkly Jinhao 82s. So I just think it goes really well with them because it's got that bit of sparkle in the pen and then got some nice shimmer. So the shimmer just take a little bit to come through, but it does. It shades quite nicely as well. A lot of these shimmer inks do have quite nice shading. So just moving that in the light to see. So I shook the bottle up enough. Not behaving brilliantly on the with the dip pen. So yeah, salted caramel. Pretty sure this was from the most recent one. But again, apologies if I've got that wrong. I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I don't think you can get this as a full bottle yet. Not had any issues with that in a pen, but yeah, it's not particularly happy with the Kakamori. But then again, some aren't, so that's fine. Not a great deal of shimmer coming through yet. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, it's definitely got some shimmer. I'm not sure if that's. Hopefully it'll pick it up. But as that dries, obviously we should get some more. So on that note, this one, I don't think we've got another shimmer. This is standard. Oh, this one's a shimmer. Just look at the bottom, Marie, that'll tell you. So this is nutmeg. So again, it's just another one I just love even the name of. I love anything that's kind of nutmeg, cinnamon, clove, all those kind of spices. And can you tell I'm a bit of an autumn girl as well with my love of all these colours. And definitely some shimmer showing there. Not as clear on this paper as it is on my Demo River paper. But maybe that's something I can show when I do the comparison of the different papers. If I pick one ink and see how it, how it compares across the different papers. Let me know if there's a specific ink that you'd like to see that you've noticed I've got in my collection, or if there's one that you'd like to see that maybe I can pick up. And then if there's something specific, maybe Sheen Machine might be a good one, or Vibe, or Cosmic from the Diamine, one that's got proper like sheening rather than sparkle. So yeah, so this one, I don't think I said what it was. Oh, I did, didn't I? Nutmeg. Ooh. Oh, nice. Okay, so we've got a bit of a splod then. It was only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Right, we'll leave that there because I can always dip it in again with that. And then we'll just blot that off. Not great when it's only a small bottle anyway. So yeah, so this one's nutmeg. Nice colour. There's more of a grey to this, I think, isn't there? So it was more of a... Definitely got a grey tone to that. I was just going to say I can't believe I splodged that, but to be honest, I can believe it because it's me. I'm more shocked I haven't done it before now. Ooh, however, look at that. Look at the sheen that's picked. Can you see that? The shimmer rather, not the sheen. Look at that. Look at the shimmer. It's just showing in the other sample on the edges now as well, but that one, it's almost like I did it on purpose. Totally didn't. So then we've got another one which's got a bit of a different property. Now, I love the concept and the idea of scented ink, and I love Smells Like Coffee, as I've mentioned. However, these ones from Diamine that I've tried, I don't actually love them on paper. It might be better. That's really shimmery now, look. Okay, I might have to put that in a pen because that is really beautiful. Proper gold to that, isn't there? Sorry, distracted. So this is Cinnabon, and it is fragrance ink, scented ink, and it does smell very, very cinnamony. It is beautiful. I love the smell of this. When I've used this and I've swatched it on other papers, however, it has feathered terribly, and I think that's something that some of these fragrance things again are notoriously known for doing. So I haven't really put it in a pen to use it, which is a shame because it is a lovely colour and it smells amazing. Definitely more viscous, if you like. It's sticking to the nib a lot more. So yeah, this is Cinnabon. Doesn't seem to be. I'll have a look at that in a minute when it's settled. But yeah, this one's definitely got more flow to it. Doesn't seem to be feathering as such on this paper, but that also could be because I'm using the Kakamori nib. But I'm intrigued actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try just something else. I'm going to dip nib. I'm going to dip pen this one because I know I've got no ink in this. And this is a fine, and I'm just going to see how it behaves because that is a lovely colour. Just want to see how it behaves. It might be that I can use it on this kind of paper. See if we get any feathering. Testing with Jinhao 82 milk tea. Dip. Testing for feathering. I don't think we're getting any, are we? So just clean that nib. Let that sit there for a second. No, it's just going to go everywhere. Nothing. So let's have a look. Let's bring it up. What do you think? Are we feathering? I don't think we are. Again, it could be this paper. I'm going to try that again later on with my with some. I have got some Tomorrow River paper to hand. Should we just do it? Should we do it? Do you want to see? Okay, so I have actually swapped out from my Twines and Paper book. I think I explained before. I just got so fed up of the bleed through, so I completely gave up. Completely gave up with it, and I've swapped to an A5 Lauren Phelps Live Plan Dream, and I've written out the same layout, and I'm just really happy with it. I'm really happy that I haven't got kind of like the bleeding. I did set up last week if you watched that video. So we will actually take it on one of these pages. So we're just going to do a swatch in here. Oh, look at that, it's all over me. It doesn't matter because this is just spare paper for exactly this kind of testing now. But we may as well do it on a pretty page. So we'll give it a swatch. That will definitely bleed through. Let's see how this writes then on the Tomorrow River paper. Considering this is this year's that's been playing up. I've spelt that completely wrong, but you get the, should be double N. You get the point. It's going down really thick from this nib. And like, as you can see, it's really spreading. So it's very different property on this paper. Not feathering as such right now, but definitely really thick. Let's try the Jinhao 82 nib. Let's just do another dip. What do we think? Definitely very different, isn't it? I'm just enjoying the smell, I have to say. It does smell fabulous. I'm wondering if maybe mixed with another ink it might do well. What do we think? Yeah, definitely thicker and soaked up pretty quick. Not as bad as I expected. In my initial swatch of it, it did feather terribly, which kind of made me avoid it. But as you'll see, I'm guessing the bleed on this is going to be crazy. Look at that. Straight through to the other page even. And I mean, yeah, that was a pretty big dip, but you know, that says it all. It's not, tomato with paper is not supposed to do that. So yeah, again, no no shade to Twines and Paper who made the book. It's not their fault at all. It's completely the paper manufacturer. It's you know, Sanzen that have been doing the paper that have just really messed it up. And then a sip of the coffee. Gone quite cold now, but I don't even care. All right, so yeah, so back to this one. I still don't. Still looks okay. So okay, she's like, right, Marie, shut up. We don't want to know anything else about the Cinnabon. We've had enough. And then last but not least, just looking at that shimmer. So pretty. So this is walnut, and this is just, let's have a look. What does it say? So this is just standard ink again. So this is one that I quite like. Again, this is a, if I remember rightly from my previous swatches, it's a darker brown, as would be indicated by walnut. I'm wondering if when I do swatches or when I do my currently inked, whether I should do it on the gel paper, whether I should do it in here, for those of you that use this kind of more bullet journal and this kind of paper. I know a lot of people love Archer and Olive paper, which I do. It's a beautiful beautiful notebook. It's gorgeous, but obviously the inks do behave very differently. And I'm happy to swatch on both if you're happy to. If you want that in the video, let me know. Again, just pop down below. Would you like a swatch on two types of paper? That's nice. Yeah, I love that colour. So that is what I expected that to be, that kind of darker brown. So yeah, so that's walnut. These are all very different. Very much see such a difference with all of these, more so. And definitely the shimmer comes through there with salted caramel now. You can definitely see that shimmer, which is really pretty. And the shimmer on this one is just lovely as well. So on my accidental splodge, you can see it. And then I've got two more to do, but the one I'll have to go off and grab because I've got to bring it in. But this one is just a sample. Oh, oh, we got some bleed again. So that's the Cinnabon. Now that says a lot, doesn't it? That's interesting. That is interesting. Again, it was quite a wet twist. There's none on the right. Well, a little bit, I guess, there. But for 160 GSM, pretty thick paper, that's quite significant, isn't it? But again, it's the fragrance stinks. Yeah, they don't behave quite as well as others, but yeah, so that's interesting, something to bear in mind. So this is a sample I've got. So this is a Pilot oh my goodness, Iroshizuki. That's right, isn't it? Iroshizuki range from Pilot, and this is Yamaguri. So this again is kind of like a dark walnut. I have Kirasami, which is kind of like grey, and I love that ink. And I am definitely going to be buying a bottle of this one. So It's on my Amazon wish list, and it will be one of my next ink purchases because I adore this. But yeah, I wasn't sure, so I do tend to buy samples if I can. But look at that, and it's such well-behaved ink. These Pilot inks are just amazing. For any of you have them, which I know they're very popular, so I should imagine quite a few of you do. So I'm just going to put Pilot because there's no way I'm going to try and write Russia's because I can't even say it. But we all know what I mean. And if you don't, just go and search Pilot. So it's Pilot Yama. Great. Yeah, and this is kind of like the dark walnut, I believe. That's what it's kind of translates to. Again, I'm probably completely wrong. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, really love that. What I do want to do though is I do want to compare it to the Diamine walnut. See how different it is. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of the walnut next to it just so that I can get a better comparison. Just again, my eyes aren't the best, so rather than me trying to swap between pages, it might be interesting to see as well anyway. Okay, I do think they're quite different, aren't they? It's got more of a chocolatey brown kind of, I would say, and that's more of kind of like a tree brown, I guess. How do you describe different browns? So I'm just going to pop off and get the ink that I've got. You guys won't notice because I'll be back in the blink of an eye. So yeah, so this is Diamine Cocoa Shimmer. So I saw this, somebody was using it online. I was just like, oh my goodness, I've got to get that. I'm not going to do another ink bottle because I've just put that away. So we'll do a nice big swatch of this one because the shimmer on it is crazy. Let me just make sure I've got it all. So here we go. So yeah, this is a current favourite. I've got it in a couple of pens and it is just lovely and like kind of fits the coffee, but I mean it is called cocoa. Definitely does have more of a chocolatey kind of vibe to it. More definitely again still in the hot drink realm. So we've got tea, coffee and cocoa. So we've got all hot drink areas covered. And perhaps we just need to add some green in so we've got some matcha. What do you think? Maybe not today. I will do a video on my green inks and my purples as well. So we've done a nice big splodge of that. And you will see there's a lot of shimmer that will start to come through on this. Just, no, I can smell, but I think it's just left over from, I think I can still smell the coffee on the other page. So it's cocoa shimmer. This has got beautifully intense gold shimmer to it. So yeah, as that dries, you will see that shimmer. I'll bring it up to the camera so that you can see. So yeah, so that's kind of all. We'll do a flip through in a second of all of them so we can see them dry. For some reason I can't put the lid on. There we go. Okay, so are we getting there? Yes, that shimmer's definitely coming through. It's not quite as intense on this paper as I was expecting. On the Tomoe River paper, it does really kind of show more intense than that. Could be that it's still got time to dry. Shall we just quickly do it on the this one? You can see actually there's some bits of feather in there on the thicker, on the Cinnabon. I spelt wrong. And let's hope we can get so nice just to be able to splodge it on the paper and not care because it doesn't matter. Better the notebook. So I'm not using it right now. It's literally for this very kind of reason. Splodge. Proper splodge. So we can try and see. Yeah, I can see that coming through. It just sits on the paper just completely differently than it does with the other. Definite sheen coming through there. You can see the light catching it. And then we'll go back. We'll go back to this one while that dries a bit. And yeah, you can definitely see more of that shimmer. Let's turn it towards the light. And you can see the different shading and the colour of the ink there. So yeah, so while that's and I'll show you that again when that's dry in a minute, but we'll go through them. So got a little bleed through here as well on a couple of these. Look, just a little bit. Not anything overly significant though, but again, they are big. They're big swatches, and you wouldn't necessarily have that in your normal writing. So yeah, so we've got Robert Oster Cafe Crema. You can see quite a difference between all of these now. The Jacques Herbin Lait de Thé. Look at that. Inky fingers. KWZ smells like coffee, and yeah, it does still smell like coffee on the page. Honey. Yeah, we've still got the smell on that one as well. And then the Diamine Sepia and the Desert Burst. Not a huge difference between those two. There's more of a difference coming up on the camera than I can see in with my naked eye. That sepia's looking, you know, a bit different, but yeah, similar. Similarities. And then we've got the rustic brown, which yeah, I think I'll definitely be trying that in a pen. I haven't got that in anything, but that surprised me. I think that's a standout from these. Definitely that reddy, russety kind of colour to it. And then Ancient Copper. I do love that. It is beautiful. I think I will have to try it and just see how I get on. But yeah, if any of you have any experience with using Ancient Copper and have any issues, let me know. And then Salty Caramel, which has got that sheen, and that's really showing nicely now. Hopefully that's picked up. I'm trying to angle it towards the window so you can see it. Nutmeg, gorgeous. I'm definitely going to pop that into a pen probably later today. This is giving me a good idea of maybe inks that I might change up actually for March, for the rest of March. Cinnamon, still a bit unsure about that, but yeah, we could give it a go. And then Walnut, which is really lovely, very happy with that. And then we've got the Pilot I tried Iroshizuku Yami Guru, sorry. And then the Cocoa Shimmer, which disappointingly on here just isn't showing the shimmer like I've got it in other swatches, but yeah, hopefully it's got it there a little bit. Let's have a look. Perhaps I didn't shake it well enough because it's not exactly picking up greatly. It might look better. The camera might pick it up better than what I'm actually picking it up. And yeah, there's the other one, the cinnamon, and I'm guessing, I would imagine that's hugely bled through as well, which is a shame. But again, this is the not so good tomato root paper from this year, and there are much better. But yeah, definitely some shimmer coming through there. But yeah, so that's it. So thank you so much for coming back. Hope you've enjoyed this, and you've enjoyed having a coffee, having a warm beverage with me, whether that's your tea, coffee, or your hot chocolate, your cocoa, or even a matcha. Why not? So yeah, thanks again for coming by. The channel is really growing quite quickly, and I'm just so appreciative of that. So thank you everybody that's subscribed. If you haven't subscribed as yet, it would be brilliant if you do. Obviously, you know, the more subscriptions I've got, the more we'll get out, and the algorithm will push us out there so we can build our community, and also of course it'll give me more opportunities to be able to kind of like buy more things for the channel and that kind of thing, so I can show you even more. So yeah, so again, thank you so much. I hope you have a great week, and happy inking.